Hey everybody, welcome to what would normally be Fat Kings Friday, even though we normally do that on Thursday night. It is a special broadcast. We're doing this Wednesday night. So, Fat Kings not quite Friday. It is June 17th right now. I am Andrew, VSG Spike. Sorry I'm a little in the dark. I'm staying inside tonight because it is really, really shitty outside. But tonight, Walter is enjoying some R&R, much needed, understand. But in his place, I've decided to do something a little bit different, and I have my brother on with me. So I wanted to kind of go through the process of what I went through with weight loss surgery and kind of get his take on it, his perspective, and I'm sure we'll bullshit for a little bit all along the way because we've got an hour to kill. So, Scott, you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit?
Sure. Hello. I'm Scott. I'm Andrew's younger brother. I'm currently residing in Columbus right now, finishing up my last semester of college before I graduate. I'm really excited about that.
You
And
graduated on my birthday.
yeah, which is an amazing coincidence.
I know
Um,
that pretty works out pretty well.
yeah. By the way, I never told you graduation will be at the Schottenstein Center. Um,
Oh, it's not at the shoe.
no, I think they're worried about the weather.
The
So
weather's been shitty lately too.
it's been terrible. I was drenched today. But, anyways, outside of college and that, I'm also writing for a website, GameNews.io. It's just a collective news site where a couple people and I will write about what's happening with video games and stuff like that. We've been incredibly busy with E3 this week, and I've been up to my eyeballs in trying to write articles. So it's been between school starting and that, it's been a really fun week.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure with your writing you've had a lot of fun. If anybody with your watching, I know normally in the past we've had the comments bar below because Walter's been running, typically starting the show. Because Walter's not here, I'm doing it for some reason. When I start the show, we have the chat bar off to the right of the screen. So I I don't know why it works that way, but today we've got the chat bar. So Scott was mentioning that he was having trouble seeing me. I can it comes back and I can see myself with this. I can see Scott, but if you're having trouble seeing me at all, I know it's a little dark, but I mean I should be able. It should come through pretty well. But if you have any trouble, just shoot a comment or something, message saying can't see you, dude. So. But anyway, yeah. So Scott, he's the middle brother. Take that for what it's worth. But yeah. So yeah, you've had a pretty exciting week so far. Well, not only was this your first week of classes too.
Yes.
Okay. All
Pretty.
right. So you're back with your first week of classes. On top of your first week of classes, it's E3. So
Yes.
being the video game dorks that we are, we've been kind of gushing a little bit. Oh, thanks, Rob. I appreciate that. Okay, he says everything looks fine. So excellent.
Okay.
So
Good.
good. So you may not be able to see me, but they can. So
No
either
worries.
that or he just prefers not seeing my face at all. So that I can understand. But yeah, so you've had like I said, a pretty fun week.
Yeah.
And if you haven't, yeah, I haven't. I've talked about it every once in a while, but yeah, you do some cool freelance writing for that site, and that's pretty sweet. So I'm pretty proud of you for that. And
It is very
man,
exciting.
I am kind of bummed though that it's at the Shot and it's not at the Shoe. It's not going to be at the Shoe.
I know. I wish I can do something about it. Doesn't mean
Why
we can't.
not? Come on, damn it. Well, yeah, we'll still check out. Well, because I'm going down for your graduation, and we'll go check out campus and all that fun stuff.
Sure.
So
Okay.
anyway, kind of getting back to the topic because
Yeah.
this is a show talking about weight loss surgery and the journey through weight loss surgery.
Mhm.
You came out. I had my surgery on a Wednesday. I
Mhm.
stayed Thursday night. I stayed Wednesday night and Thursday night in the hospital, and
Uh-huh.
then you the youngest brother, my brother Eric,
Mhm.
and Dad. The three of you came out on Friday, I think it was.
Yes.
So I mean, you saw me at my like I was thankfully at that point I was out. Um, it looks like the old time. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to read what Rob was saying. Looks like the old time photo of the picture. I don't know what he's. Oh, I don't know. Okay, I'm trying to figure out what he was saying, how he's describing my what it looks like. But
Oh, okay.
anyway, so you were basically telling me that. Well, what I was saying is that you thankfully you weren't there. I was, at my best, the day after when I was coming off of all the anesthesia. But you at least we all got to hang out. You guys got to be around, and thank God I was actually in pretty decent shape as far as recovery. So we still got to do a lot of hanging out, and I appreciate that. So I mean, I remember as well. Not only on top of that, but kind of even going back a long ways. I think at the beginning of last year, you were one of only a few people that I had told about me getting the surgery.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, I was just kind of curious. I mean, what were some of your initial thoughts when I told you about that? Like, what kind of went through your head when I was going to go get major surgery to basically cut part of my stomach out?
God, putting it that way is just freaky.
I know.
No, when you called me about that, it was a huge surprise because I mean I wasn't even expecting anything like that when you called. It was just I remember it pretty clearly. It was just a normal day hanging out with friends, and you said, "Hey, can we talk?" And when you told me that, it was mixed emotions. I was incredibly happy for you, and then I got a little worried. I'm like, it's surgery. I just don't even like the word surgery. So it just knowing about it way ahead of time, it added a little bit of tension to like all of our future conversations because it was one day closer. But I never stopped being excited for you because you and I had a long talk that day about it and how this is something you were adamant on doing. This was the direction you wanted to go. And again, I could not be happier for you. And I wanted to be there for you as much as I possibly could. And up to the point that the surgery happened, you were always on my mind. And I was just really excited to know that you were taking a huge step towards just something great in your life.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And it was definitely rough. I mean, it was something I had given a lot of thought to. I mean, I had thought about it for years, even before it even I even really started it at the beginning of last year. So, I mean, it certainly weighed heavily on me. But then it was funny because, like I said, I told you very early on, and I only had told you. And then I told Grandma.
Yes.
And I think I told Sarah, my friend Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was really about it. I mean, and that was for the longest time. I mean, up until I almost had essentially a surgery date. And I remember talking with you because I had full intention for the longest time of not telling anybody at all.
Oh no, and you kept it.
The surgery, and I kept telling you, don't say anything, or have you said anything, kind of going into that. But it was definitely something I thought about, not just the surgery itself, but because I wasn't sure how family members would react. I mean, I suspected that they would have been supportive.
Yeah,
absolutely. But you still don't know. And I mean, it was cool that I had your support. I had Grandma's support. But I mean, God, up until maybe, God, I want to say, was it like a month or so before
you told Dad?
when I finally decided to like tell Dad?
It was yeah. It had to be around a month. It was very close to the day.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You never told me how he took that, by the way. Like, how was that?
When I told Dad?
Yes.
I say my dad.
My dad too.
Right. Well, I'm so used to I'm not used to having a hangout where I'm talking to my brother. So
I understand.
Normally we're hanging out while we're playing Halo or something. But when talking to Dad, he took it very, very well. I mean, he listened. I did a lot of talking initially, and I told him about what was going on. I told him about, um, how I came to this decision, and all the preparation that I had to do and everything that was required of me beforehand. So once he kind of understood that. I mean, he never once wasn't supportive, so that was nice. And I never really doubted that he would be supportive. So it yeah, it went very, very well. So I was excited that even giving such a short notice on something like that, he was still able to come out and bring you guys and
Yeah.
visit. So
That made me really, really happy.
yeah, I was really, really glad to see you guys and have you guys come out there, because it was definitely nice to share that with you guys at the same time.
Yeah, we had planned that like the Wednesday before we actually showed up. Like it was a pseudo impulse decision.
Well, it must have been. I mean, it must have been very impulsive, because the Wednesday before you actually showed up was the day I went and actually had the surgery.
Right. Yeah.
So,
That you had like just told me about it, and then
well,
Hmm?
I think I was asking Dad if he was going to come out or not, if he wanted to come out and visit.
Yeah.
But then not realizing that he was going to bring you guys along the way as well. That was really cool. So,
Yeah.
I just got to mention this too in the comments. Mom and Me VSG. I'll have to kind of bring you into this world a little bit through this conversation tonight, Scott, because you don't know. You have an idea through your own communities, but then there's the weight loss community.
Right. No.
She just commented and said, "Hey guys, Cassie's out of the hospital. She's on the mend. Told me to tell you guys hi and thanks for keeping her in your thoughts. Much appreciated." They're a mother-daughter duo that were getting surgery, and the daughter had some complications. So as can happen. So she was actually in for a good long while, and it's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that she's doing well. I'm glad to hear that she's out and mending. So
Yeah.
I know Walter may or may not be watching, but we'll definitely be sure to pass that along to him as well. So, but yeah, so kind of going back to that. So you guys showed up.
Yeah.
And you saw me necessarily in all my glory, because at the time I still had fresh surgery scars.
I still
had that.
refuse to see any of that.
What's that?
I still refuse to see any of that, like the tube and anything. I couldn't even manage looking at that.
Well, you really didn't have much to see, because when you guys were there, the scars themselves, and I don't know if you saw them or not, but the scars at the time, they were glued shut, so you really didn't have much to see. But that one part with the tube and that on cue, that ball in my ball sack, essentially. We are totally mature.
Yeah.
That part where you would have seen like the tube going in, that was all covered with bandage. So I know you wouldn't have seen that anyway.
Oh, well,
but I know you just were like, no, I don't want to see that.
I can't stand that. I got my blood drawn last week, and it was still terrible, even though it lasted like 5 seconds.
That's so funny. But yeah, so I mean, it was pretty cool, because me at the time, because I mean I'm out in West Virginia now, but at the time, living in Northern Virginia, you guys were all in Ohio, and thankfully we were able to make the drive out there, and I appreciated it. So
yeah,
and it was fun, because you guys came out like late Friday night. I remember I was too amped, because I think I found out like, I don't know if I knew you were coming, but I didn't realize Eric was coming. So I was knowing you guys were on your way, I was too amped to go to sleep. I was so effing tired, but you guys came in at like friggin' midnight or something like that on Friday. And it was quick. You guys came in at like midnight on Friday. You guys crashed. We hung out all day Saturday. Hung out for a little bit Sunday morning, and then you guys were back on the road. I felt so bad for Dad, because he had to drive to Columbus. He had to drive to drop off Eric back in Toledo, and then go back to his house. Oh my God. All that freaking
That
driving.
was ridiculous. I felt bad
Yeah.
for him.
So I mean, what going into it and realizing you knew everything about it. You knew
Yeah.
that I was kind of keeping it a bit of a secret for the time being up until, like I said, about a month or so. Because at that point, um, when I finally decided that I wanted to tell Dad and
Yes.
the rest of the family, it was actually Ryan's dad had mentioned something which kind of made me think about it. He's like, if I were my own dad, if I were him, he's like, I would certainly want to know. I would appreciate knowing. I would have felt kind of bad not knowing.
Right.
I kept it pretty much a secret for a good while from like coworkers and stuff like that. That was easy.
Uh-huh.
But when he mentioned that, I'm like, yeah, that really does kind of make sense. Um, so I knew everybody was already supportive, so I figured, well, at that point, I might as well tell him, give him the opportunity to, if he wants to come out for it, because I'm sure he would want, that's another thing he mentions, like, he very well may want to come out for it and be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
So give him that opportunity and actually tell him. So
Good thing you did.
yeah, no, I'm definitely glad that I did. So, but on the way there, because you guys, like I said, you guys were driving, it was 8+ hours or so for you guys.
About, yeah.
I mean, what did you kind of expect coming into it when you were on your way, knowing that you were going to come and see me, kind of in my, for lack of a better term, post-op glory?
I definitely knew we weren't about to go swimming or go for a nice little jog around town. I knew it was going to be a very relaxed hangout.
Yes.
But on the way there, it was. I knew that you were doing all right. You were recovering well, and you were doing well. So I was mostly going through my mind. I was just damn excited to see you again because it had been a while. And
Mm-hmm.
as far as like the whole surgery thing, I I wasn't. I didn't know everything about it. I know you told me as much as you could, and as much as I would allow, given I don't like surgery.
I gave you as much detail as you could stomach, for pretty much.
Pretty much. But I mean, I figured we would probably like have a nice talk about it. I was just looking forward to just hearing more about it. Just excited to see you, excited to see how you were doing, to hang out with you, and just like I said, hear more about it.
Okay. Well, good. I mean, and for me, that was pretty much the same. It was just good to see you guys because we just didn't get to hang out. We don't get to necessarily hang out all too often
Right.
anyway, being the distance that we were away. So for me, it was just a good opportunity to
Yeah.
kick back and spend some time with you guys. But
Mhm.
it was, and I mean, of course, in my own genuine fashion, it wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have. I knew I had time on my hands. So what did I do while we were there on Saturday? We actually brewed a batch of homebrew.
Yup.
That was I don't even remember which one we brewed, to be honest.
Wasn't it the pumpkin beer?
September.
Didn't we do the pumpkin?
Yeah, I think it was actually it was the pumpkin beer. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because I did the pumpkin beer, and then when that was done, I did. Yeah, I think so. Because then I only did like one more. Excuse me, one more batch before I left.
Right.
Before I moved out here. So yeah, it was right. So we took the opportunity to kind of hang out and show Dad how I brew and everything else, and yeah, that was kind of fun.
Yeah. I mean,
Even had Eric help too, which was kind of funny. So.
Yeah.
But no, you were right. It definitely wasn't. Thankfully, and a lot of people in the community with recovery, they really can't. They may not be able to do a whole hell of a lot. I was really, really lucky in being able to get up and walk around, because a lot of people are still in a great deal of pain that quickly afterwards.
Mhm.
That just getting up off the couch or out of bed is a task in and of itself at that point. But I mean, thankfully, I was able to get up, walk around. We went for walks just around the neighborhood, and
Yeah.
we went for a ride in the car and everything else. So, I mean, thankfully,
Yeah.
and I mean, I think I owe a lot of it to that pump that I had, because I didn't feel. I had tightness and a little soreness, but it wasn't any pain, if you will. So,
Right. And that's really good to hear.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And mom and me mentioned as well. She said having family support is so important. My heart hurts for those in the community who do not have that kind of support. And there really is. There's a lot of people that I've
Right.
talked to that, they don't tell family members because of fear of being shamed. And a lot of people
Right.
do end up getting shamed and they feel really bad. That's why a lot of people will, turn to the community for, that kind of support because, you know,
Yeah.
they don't get it elsewhere. And it sucks. But like I said, I feel lucky to have that support from you guys because
Yeah.
it was great because thankfully between like you and grandma, I was able to call and talk to you guys and kind of give you updates all along the way. Cause I first think I told you about it, Christmas time, New Year's, somewhere right around that time when I first decided to really get working on it. I mean, and that was a 9-month process, and I think we pretty much talked, what regardless of what conversation we were having, it would always get brought up, every so
Yeah.
often. So
Absolutely.
so I have to mention this too, because if in case you're looking and you're aware, of how I used to look, my previous, and you look at my brother, you'll notice he is a hell of a lot skinnier. So Scott, I'm going to give you the opportunity to piss off a lot of people in the community. Can you please state your height and weight for me, or the height and weight to the best of your knowledge?
I am 6'2" and 170 pounds.
And probably never gotten above that either, really, have you?
I hit 190 once for like a week because I was stressed about exams or something.
So
But
you were doing the college stress eating kind of thing, which
yes,
stress eating happens in this community too. But you're not starting. We're not often starting at 170 pounds. You son of a bitch. So yeah, so my dad, my brother, and both of my brothers, because Eric, he's got to be 6'1" at this point.
yes, no, definitely.
Yeah, because he's I know you're taller than I am, and he's almost as tall as me. So
Yeah.
you guys are both much skinnier. You got my dad. You got dad's metabolism.
Mm.
You got those genes. I got the genes on mom's side, which obviously tend to be a little more heavy set. So.
Uh-huh.
It was always interesting for me because especially once you guys got older because there's a gap because I'm 32, you're 23, Eric is 17.
17. I can't believe it.
That's yeah. So I mean, it's crazy because there's those giant gaps like that.
Mhm.
So it wasn't until you guys started getting older, as I was as well, that I kind of realized, wow, you guys got the good genes because you guys are all freaking skinny and everything else. Um,
Right.
oh, mom and me just asked. There's a little bit of a delay between what you and I talk and when it actually shows up on the shows. There's like a 10-15 second delay.
Oops.
So no. It's just what naturally happens with this. She just asked about the age difference between us. So, like I said, me being 33 or 32, going to be 33 soon. 32, you're 23, and then Eric being 17. So my young, I mean, our the youngest brother of us. He's back in Toledo, and hopefully can freaking graduate high school. But that is another story in and of itself. Let's not get into that one.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah.
just
So I mean, it was always interesting. What's that?
I just realized I'm half a year away from hitting 24. That's too fast
Oh,
for me.
that is on the 17th. That's true.
Well, I mean December 19th, but it's close enough.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, absolutely, almost there.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyways.
but yeah, so I mean, it was always odd because especially looking back at some of those pictures when I was still very very heavy, and seeing the two of you because sometimes I mean it was odd because it was like one of these things does not look like the other, one of these things is fat. but,
Oh.
but no, it was always funny because I guess as funny as it can seem, but seeing the two of you guys and I'm like, man, I'm the big guy. This is bullshit. Um, but I was still, it never really majorly bothered me. And it certainly doesn't bother me anymore because obviously I'm, getting,
You're
down
looking,
to a better weight and a better size. But
you're looking
it was
fantastic.
always an odd situation for me because, mom was big in the family,
Hmm.
but you weren't, Eric wasn't, dad wasn't. It was definitely an interesting dynamic for me. It may not have necessarily met or noticed much for you, but it was definitely an interesting dynamic for me personally. Um,
Uh-huh.
so yeah, it was definitely it was very welcome to try and actually and still have the support from you guys throughout that. She also mentioned as well. She's like, she said loved your Sea-Doo video because if you remember, I put your part of the footage on the GoPro at the end of my Sea-Doo video,
Yeah, and I was
which
practically.
includes all of your woo. So in case you're wondering, this is the woo guy at the end of my Sea-Doo video.
Yeah, I was having
You
so much fun.
you did a lot of wooing, but it's hard not
Yeah,
to. It's so much fun.
yeah. I try not to remember that.
Oh, I will gladly help remind you. Um, she also asked for you, actually, Scott. She said, "Are you excited to have your, she said, quote unquote, you excited to have your active brother back?"
No, absolutely. It'll be great to be able to just. I think this whole process like will be able to open up a lot of different things that we can do. It
Mm-hmm.
will. I think like even the Sea-Doo was something I think it was really fun that we were both able to experience together, and um who knows what we'll find to do in the future. But I think that a lot of possibilities will be opened up, and I would love to just find stuff to do now. Is what, like I said, we'll have a lot to do.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, and it's kind of twofold with that, not only because of, me being smaller and actually being able, and I never felt like I was ever, not able to do certain things, but it certainly was difficult because certain things did require you to fit in, to
Right.
certain, like in the Sea-Doo, I couldn't fit necessarily in the life jacket. So, I mean, it was definitely a restriction. So, but on top of that, be me now moving closer because now you're only what I think 3.5 hours away. So it
Yes.
definitely makes it a lot easier for us to, have that opportunity to do more at the same time, which I'm really excited for.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, no, and well, especially also being out here, that gives us a lot of opportunity to go out and do all sorts of stuff. Camping.
Sure.
Have you ever been canoeing?
Kayaking. That's it.
Okay, well, kayaking. That's right. We would do kayaking in Daytona every once in a while,
Yes. Love that.
but you never went canoeing down the river because there was an experience that you never got to experience when I was younger. Around me and our cousin Adam, when we were all younger, all the aunts and uncles would get together and they would go for like a weekend canoe trip, and it was a
Uh,
family event. But oh my god, it was such a debacle. It was so funny.
that's
It was a riot. So we would all get in canoes and we would literally go. They would drive us for God what seemed like an hour and a half, and
uh,
drop us off at the spot. They give you a canoe and off you go down the river for the rest of the day. And it was always Adam and I. And oh my God, it was such a freaking blast because you'd run into people and talk to folks, and you
mhm.
see, oh, there's Aunt Julie. Let's take our paddles, and you would just whack them on the ground so it shoots out all this spray and get them all wet. And oh, it was so much fun.
It's
And then
actually,
you get back and go, light, get a big old fire going and have a good campfire. So
yeah,
that that kind of stuff, and that's stuff we can do out here.
right.
So
Which I would love to do sometime. You mentioned it last time I was there, so
oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of outdoor stuff that we can go out and definitely and do. So,
yeah.
but so
Hopefully not,
what's that?
hopefully not get shot.
As well as oh my god, and folks out here who in the community that know I live in West Virginia, I've gotten a lot of crap for people. Oh, you hear the banjo, start running. Um, It was funny. Late Saturday night, on our way back from the new apartment, we our uncle, who lives like maybe 300 some odd yards away, had a party going on and had folks in the round in the back in their backyard playing music.
Uh-huh.
Literally, the only thing I could hear, it was pitch black. The only thing I could hear in the middle of the night was banjos.
That's fantastic.
It sounded phenomenal. They sounded great, but it scared the shit out of me.
I can imagine.
So, Mom and me, it's all fun until you tip your canoe and lose the cooler. Well, I've never done a canoe trip above 21, so I can't actually speak to that. So
Guess
to me,
what?
it was just tipping over the canoe when you were a kid and getting all drenched and you were pissed off.
Well, hey, guess what? We are now of age.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly.
That'd
Talking about being active, so like doing stuff together, and this will be an experience for me, really, because a couple of years ago, when I was essentially when I was at my heaviest, and
Yeah.
we went to a festival. We went to the Orion Festival, it was put on by Metallica, and that was up in Detroit. And we had an awesome time. And I was never uncomfortable during that whole time.
Uh-huh.
But I think there was a comfort level with me personally, because I don't know if you even recall, but I did this very knowingly and willingly. I wore jeans the entire time, even though it was really warm and it was very comfortable. I wore jeans purposely, because at that time, and I don't know if you've seen some of I think I have shown you some of the before, like early pictures that I've done, like the front and the side shots.
Yeah.
My legs were really big. Like especially my left leg. So I very consciously did that, and it was warm. But I mean, thankfully now at this point, we're going to another concert. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
We're going to one here in a couple of weeks that I'm not going to have any problem. Getting comfortable.
Good.
Wearing shorts and a t-shirt and just enjoying myself. So it'll be interesting because we had, like, when we went to the concert in Detroit, I had to do a lot of walking. You had to park and walk around and do that, and it never really weighed me down per se, but it certainly wasn't fun.
Right.
But it'll be interesting to see how this dynamic works, because we're going to have to do essentially the same, because we have to walk a ways to get to the metro, and then after we get off the metro, we have to get to the venue and get in, and it's going to be a long all day event. So I'd be very curious how I reacted, how I fared during that at the same time. So
yeah, I mean, I can imagine it'll be much more amped. I guess we'll be a lot more active. I mean, it's the Foo Fighters, so it'll be really awesome.
Exactly. I'm definitely looking forward to it. And you said you want to do something for the first time.
Crowd surf, absolutely. I want it to happen there. I am preparing myself. I'll probably freak out when we get there, but I want to do it. I've been to enough concerts. I need to be able to say I've done that once. I got the bucket list goal of driving a Zamboni out of the way. Now I need to do the crowd surfing goal.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, on top of being a college student and having your little side job with the freelance writing, you also still work, even in the late spring. You're still working at the ice rink.
Yes. Yeah.
And you got to drive a Zamboni. How the hell was that? How much fun did that have to be?
The first 30 seconds were a little nervous because it was a huge machine, and driving it is not the same as driving a car. There are no brakes. It is you move, and when you let go of the brake, you have a hard stop. So it was getting used to that. But then I backed out into the parking lot, and it was summer, so nobody was there. So I just did a few circles, drove around, and it was awesome.
So you didn't even drive it on the ice. You actually drove it outside.
Yes.
That had been freaking funny.
It was awesome. We have joked about making an obstacle course as a driving test because we need new Zam drivers.
You got to figure out a way to properly qualify him, I guess.
Pretty much.
That's so funny. Now, are you gonna start doing that more often? And maybe like once it starts to get back into a more temperate weather, you're gonna start driving it maybe?
I'm not sure because as of now we have the ice back and we're using the ZAM to just keep it clean and whatnot.
Sure.
I'm one of the newer people there, so there will probably be a few more people to do the Zamboni to learn to drive it before me. So we will see. I'm not sure. I know one of my friends who actually he got me the job. It sounded like he is like one of the next people to do it. So it might be a while, but I mean, I'm not too worried. I drove it.
One can dream. One can dream.
We'll see.
So, no, I don't know if I told you about this at all, but in October, because okay, so I mean, beyond, obviously going through this whole process and telling you everything regarding the weight loss, we both have a lot of mutual interests that we like to geek out over. I mean, music being a big one, video games probably being the biggest. But and you're a frequenter, or more recently a frequenter of going to conventions or cons. I don't know if I told you, it's not necessarily it's a convention, but it's not like it's not like a comic book or anything. But it is a convention for the community, for the weight loss community. It's called it's put on by a website called Obesity Health. So it's just shortened OH.
That's awesome.
Well, and anytime I hear everyone talking about OH, what do you think I want to do next?
IO.
Bingo. Every time I hear OH, I'm like IO. So it's a big event that's put on this year. It's actually in North Carolina, and it's in October, and Ryan and I are going.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Yeah. It'll be fun. And what's funny is, like I said, it's a big convention. They're going to have all sorts of different folks, but for a lot of people, and myself included, it's not so much. There are going to be some fun events that they're going to do because it's in like mid-October, so they're going to have. They never said it's a Halloween party, but they said it's a costume party.
Oh,
so there's gonna be a costume party. So I have to. Many of us are trying to plan it, figure out what we want to do. But the big thing for a lot of people, especially those here in the community, because there may be groups on Facebook that you're a part of, but I have a whole separate Facebook account.
Right.
For weight loss and for interacting with all these folks, and it's huge. It's a big community across the world. Because there's actually a lot of folks, not only in Canada, but there's also a lot of folks in Australia too.
Oh,
yeah, it's pretty cool. But these events, this like OH being one of them, is it's a lot of fun because most of us are going to be able to all get together and kind of meet each other for the first time. But two of the things that they're doing that I'm kind of interested in. I'm doing well. One is the costume party itself. So Ryan and I are trying to figure out with a couple friends of ours what to do. Yeah. But the other event is, I think it's on Saturday night. They're doing a fashion show.
Huh.
So, because if you think about it, I mean, it's a large group of people who, and are all throughout the different stages of the process, but many of which have lost a tremendous amount of weight. So it's kind of a way to showcase it and, celebrate it. So I was talked into it by several people, and I've submitted for it. I have to walk a freaking catwalk.
Awesome. Do you little turn on the catwalk?
What's that again?
Do you little turn on the catwalk?
On the catwalk.
No, that's great.
Check that out. Hold on. Just take that for a moment. You are 23. And you just dropped the Right Said Fred reference. I think my work here is done as an older brother. My work here
You
is done.
you have been a wonderful influence in music in media.
Yes, I have definitely shown you the way. Yes.
And looking at my friends, the people I go to classes with now, I do appreciate that.
Exactly. It's fun, man. You got to have those. You got to have those references because, oh, so good, so
Yeah,
good.
for sure.
But it's interesting because a lot of I'm trying to still figure out, well, what do I want to wear for said fashion show?
Right.
Most people wear like cool outfits, or
Yeah.
most of the girls will get cool dresses and stuff like that. But I'm like, some of the guys have done suits. Some of the guys have done like nice shirts and vests with
Right.
jeans. I'm like, do I go that route or do I go for something like, I don't know. I don't want to say odd, but let's say
Different.
different. Exactly. Do I do
Knowing
something
you,
different?
that sounds.
But it can't be like different in an odd way. It's gotta be something.
You don't want to get on the catwalk in your Halloween costume.
Oh God, no. No.
I mean, that'd be
No.
great, but
Unless I'm going as a slutty nurse.
no.
Exactly.
So yeah, that'll be fun to think about.
Well, because you are doing some costumes for your.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm very curious to see how that turns out. So Walter would be so proud to know that you are going as Kung Fury during one of
Absolutely.
your cons.
Yes. I actually have a little over half of the costume, and it's all just fantastic.
Do you have the bandana figured out, or is that something you're gonna like go to a fabric store and just kind of put together?
I've got a friend who works at Joanne Fabrics, so
Bitchin'. And
yeah.
Go ahead.
The last things I need to find are the jeans and the patches on the jeans and the headband. Everything else I either have or it's on the way. The leather
Beautiful.
jacket took me hours to find a good looking one.
Awesome.
That wasn't like $300. So yeah, no,
Yes.
I'm really, really excited to show it off.
See, and that's kind of what everyone's excited about with this, with an event like this, because they're getting an opportunity to really do something that they never would have really done before, and kind of do that in a fun atmosphere. So we're all going to kind of get the show off in a fun way. So
Yeah, I think costumes are for everyone. I don't think it really matters what you look like. If you pull it off and you look great, no matter what, I think that's awesome. But I think the fact that everyone's going to be able to do it with that much more confidence is just awesome.
absolutely, you couldn't have said it any better, honestly. So, but
So yeah,
yeah.
it's Kung Fury for me, and then my the other
The
one.
other one.
So I guess I should explain. The other one is
Yeah, not too many people may understand what Sailor Moon is, but kind of break it down in the
okay.
most simplest, like break it down to what at the core what you're doing.
So I guess briefly, Sailor Moon is one of the most popular anime figures. They wear very, very feminine dresses and skirts, but
Because they're a group of girls, remember?
yes, and it's a group, but they're Sailor Venus, Mars, Moon, Jupiter. My friends and I are going as those girls, but cross-dressed as actual sailors. So we're gonna have the anchor tattoos, the sailor hats, but it's gonna be slightly feminine. And I have like a whole
Oh my
template
God.
of what it's gonna look like, and it's gonna be freaking amazing.
Oh my Lord.
I'm really excited for that one.
That it could be
It,
it's clever. I'm gonna give you that. It's certainly clever.
thank
But
you.
yeah,
I know.
I'll give you that one, that's for sure. Oh man. Jesus. Is it still? You guys getting a lot of storms out there?
We had a lot of rain today. I don't hear anything. I think it's actually cleared up today for the rest of the day.
Yeah, we're getting just loads, massive amounts of thunder. It's such a mess.
I think I could hear it in the background.
Yeah. Well, what you may hear constantly too. There's a fan. I've got a ceiling fan up here going. So I'm in the spare bedroom at the house. So.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah. No, I mean it's. So I mean. So we kind of talked about the early stages,
Yeah.
talking about it during the pre and when you came out immediately for post op. So I also at the same time, I told a lot of people about the surgery, but then at the same time I didn't really post and still haven't posted a whole lot of pictures of
No, you
myself
have.
on Facebook. And
Yeah.
not that I'm avoiding it, I don't know. I haven't just done it as often. So, I'm trying to remember the first time you really saw me. Was it Christmas?
After the surgery, I mean, we had seen you immediately after the surgery. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was.
Because
No,
it was Thanksgiving.
it was.
Did you come to? Well, I
Yeah,
didn't.
I brought Eric with me for Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, that's right. So
Yeah,
you
no.
guys did get me shortly, and that was maybe only a couple months after. So it was
Yeah,
maybe about 2 months post op, and then
absolutely.
Christmas was about 3 months post op. But then we didn't get to see each other until just recently,
Memorial
because
Day.
my first trip back after Christmas wasn't until this Memorial Day weekend. So
Yeah.
that was 5-6 months after that. So
Right.
now looking back at it now,
Yeah.
that makes sense because a lot of people didn't say a whole lot, and I remember this. And not that I was looking for a reaction, but I was it was noticeable that at Christmas time, people would say a few things, but they didn't really ask or say a whole heck of a lot regarding my difference in appearance and the change and the surgery. But it was funny is I got a way more just over Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. Oh no, there was. I mean, like I saw you those three different times, and there was significant change every single time. And I think there was a much bigger time gap from like Thanksgiving to Christmas, obviously, but then it was Christmas to Memorial Day weekend, so that was a lot of time for you to be able to lose some weight, and that was a big surprise, and it was great.
But what was funny is I lost so much more weight during the first part before Christmas. Between Christmas and Memorial Day, I mean, I still lost plenty of weight, but I think it was how the weight came off of me during that time because I
Yeah.
didn't lose nearly as much weight as I did during that first part. But I think it may have just been so. I mean, that's what's funny is because a lot of people, and myself to a degree, I sometimes feel like I live and die by the numbers on the scale. But what's funny is if I look at that and I kind of really, if I live and die by the numbers, well, let me look at the numbers a little bit. Even though I lost a lot more
Yeah.
during that gap, but until like before Christmas,
Right.
even though I lost a whole lot more, the difference, the physical feelings and the actual physical appearance,
Yeah.
that difference really started to show
Mm-hmm.
after Christmas between that period where I may not have lost as much, but I
Right.
think it lost on me in more, I'm going to say, more noticeable areas where my face really cut quite a bit more. My stomach really shrunk, areas. And that was also, and I think what certainly had to have helped was during that time between Christmas and Memorial Day was a good portion of time where I was doing a lot more exercising.
Uh,
So I've slowed down quite a bit just with this transition and moving out here. But once we moved to the apartment, they actually have a fitness center there. So I'm actually going to be able to really kind of pick back up on the activity. So,
cool.
it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens over these next several months because,
Uh,
I still have, I mean, I think I still have, ideally, I still have about 80 pounds left to lose. So
okay.
believe it or not, do you remember? Now that I'm thinking about it, I have to ask you: do you
Yeah.
remember? Um, Do you remember how much I weighed at my biggest when I told you?
I don't remember.
What would you guess? Because I mean, I remember telling you some numbers along the way, but do you remember like what the largest would have been for me?
I don't want to be wrong.
And trust me,
um,
it doesn't bother me if you're wrong. There's a lot of
didn't
numbers to choose from.
yeah, didn't you say it was like close to 400?
Oh, it was well over 400.
Oh, well then, yeah, I remember 400 something.
It was at my biggest. My biggest on the scale was actually about a month and a half before my surgery, and it was 484 pounds.
Oh wow. I I did not remember, or I don't think
Yeah.
I ever told that bit much. Wow.
Yeah, and my biggest was 484. And I think by I'd have to go look at the numbers, but I know by Christmas time I had lost over 100 pounds, or right around 100 pounds.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, and I think right now I'm over 150. So
Awesome.
yeah, so like I said, I'm still shooting for it because my goal, ideally for me, because even though and you guys are too, also to a degree, we're all kind of broad, but I think for me, I think if we measured, I may be a broader, like shoulder wise, chest wise,
Yeah,
broader
definitely.
than you guys are. You guys are definitely taller, and I'm also built a little bit differently because my legs are like solid. I always joke I have my mom's legs, but I do. I got big muscle legs.
Uh-huh.
Um, so it would, because I do carry it a lot differently than you guys would. Even if I got down to like 180, 190, it would look, you look great at where you are right now. I would look sickly, I think, at that weight because it would come
Right.
off of me at different points. Now, who knows? I mean, I may get down to 250 and be like, well, I can keep going for a while, and I may do that. But
Right.
um, it is interesting, especially because you guys have such a different appearance than I do, to see
Yeah.
that difference, and it'll be interesting to see once I get closer to kind of, you know, oh, which one of your cats is getting whiny?
The one that likes to talk. This little fluff ball. Say
What's
hi.
up?
Yeah,
But
so
it will be interesting to kind of look at that side by side, and not only side by side against myself and old pictures of myself, but once I get down to even a much smaller amount, looking at it side by side
uh-huh.
with you and Dad and Eric, because we all carry it differently on each other. So
No, absolutely. I mean, the whole time you're mentioning this, I'm thinking about like if we compared high school photos, you were always more built. You had always been a more just tougher looking built person, and I was always like this. So
I mean,
I
for
would.
lack of a better term, but you're not lanky, but I mean that's the best way to kind of describe it. But you're not lanky. You're still, because you think lanky and you think somebody who's like skeletal like arms and legs, but you're not.
Mhm. I'm glad.
What's that?
I'm glad. I remember Eric for the longest time when we lived back at the old house. He's like, "You need to eat more. I swear you're anorexic or something." And yeah,
But
that's
it's funny hearing that because obviously it was such a, like I said, the dynamic being where I was and being the weight and the size that I was, and the two of you interacting the way that you have in the past. It's different coming from my perspective and my, I guess, size perspective, if you will. So,
uh,
but yeah. But yeah, so hopefully, as long as everything works out, fingers crossed. I checked my phone and there's nothing new regarding the concert. So,
right. It's just
like,
freaky. The 4th of July was like the first date that they could cancel as far as like what else they could cancel.
well, it's the first day of it's the kickoff of the tour.
Oh,
It's a kickoff of the entire tour. So, yeah, so fingers crossed, man, because
right.
I keep checking like a couple times a day just to see if there's anything new. So. because they had to cancel every single one of their dates in the UK. So anyway, so hopefully that'll be a fun to experience and go through that at a much smaller size that I am. So
Definitely.
yeah, but I think we're gonna call it a night here, folks. I definitely have a few things I want to get working on here because we do have. I haven't really mentioned it too much on my weight loss page, but I know I've mentioned it to you, Scott. But we've got an apartment. We are in the process of getting everything moved, and we now have added pressure to get everything moved because of all this rain. Because we live right now with Ryan's dad and stepmom on a floodplain, and with all this rain, shit could get real very quick. So we got to get our stuff, out of the basement before the basement turns into a pool.
Yeah, you're the best.
So hey, I appreciate you joining here tonight. And it was, like I said, interesting because we had to move the time and everything else. But I appreciate it for everybody who was able to join in and watch. But it was cool having your perspective on it. So for those of you who normally watch, we will be back next Thursday, and that's when we're going to do our finale. We will have a whole bunch of folks that we're going to joining us, and he will definitely start off the tour with a cast on his leg. It's whether or not he's going to actually be able to recover enough to be able to walk around or do anything during the concert, because he had to get, I think it was like 5 or 6 screws in his leg as well. So fingers crossed. So I'll definitely keep that posted. But yeah, we'll be back on next Thursday night for our kind of pseudo season finale with a whole bunch of guests and people joining in. So we will keep you guys posted on that. So in the meantime, Scott, you aren't normally a watcher of this, but we always end the show with the great Duke Nukem ending, "Hail to the King, baby." So please do us the honors. In your best Duke Nukem voice, can you give us said line and kick us off?
Oh God, I haven't done an impression in a long time. Hail to the king, baby.
Hey, I like that. Take it easy, folks.